How's it going, guys? And today we're here to talk about yet another album anniversary, and that's Korn Untouchables. This is my second favorite Korn album of all time, and what's my first? None other than Issues. And I don't think that that album will ever be replaced because it holds a special place in my heart. It's the very first Korn album I ever listened to, the very first Korn album I ever bought. I'll never forget when my cousin let me listen to this amazing band back in 1999. And my life was forever changed. It was them who turned me into a fan of metal. Korn was just such a different sound than anything I've ever heard before. And I think a lot of people had Korn as an entry point. I think a lot of people had Linkin Park as an entry point. There's been many, different bands that have been the gateway to metal, but unlike a lot of people that like grew away from these bands, I still held them in high regard, higher than any other band. I've talked about a lot of bands here on this channel. I've talked about, being a fan of metalcore, deathcore, talking about various different bands and different genres. I did my Metalhead Sucks videos. I've talked about all different things from, believing that like Asking Alexandria was a bad band because other people said so, and nu metal always getting a bad reputation, always being considered to be like a cheap form of metal. And I said a long time ago, I am done, caring what other people think and how it's perceived. Oh, you could listen to this, and this is considered to be the poor man's, version of metal, the poor version of rock and hard rock. Like, come on already. Just listen to what you think is good. Like I said, I don't care, I did an album review not too long ago. I reviewed Machine Gun Kelly's new album, and I said I loved it personally, and I don't care how it's perceived. I'm sure there's tons of metalheads who probably might watch that video and think I'm a joke, and I don't really care. If I enjoyed an album, if it sounded good to me, if the song sounded fun, entertaining, and I was enjoying what I was listening to, I wasn't going to come on here and lie. So that was kind of the mindset how I was with nu metal. For a while I did kind of think to myself, oh, well, these bands are not as good as like some of these other thrash bands from the 80s. And then I realized, you know what? It's all good. I enjoy all of it, and I don't have to shun what I liked as a teenager and think that it's bad today. I don't know why so many people thought, oh, I matured. No, you know what? Actually, I think people like immatured by turning their backs on such great music, thinking that just because you listened to it in high school, it was, it was shitty music. So that's kind of the case a lot of times what it is with Korn. I've noticed a lot of people, but now it kind of seems like everyone's kind of come full circle again and realized, well, they were full of shit and that this music was always great. So Untouchables is Jonathan Davis' favorite album, the lead singer of Korn, and I gotta say, like, I'm very pleased to hear that. Now, I wouldn't really care, like, what his favorite album is, because he's the artist. He's entitled to like whatever album he wants to like. He also thinks Take a Look in the Mirror is their worst album. And a lot of people echo that sentiment. And I don't know if that's because they truly feel that or they're just listening to Jonathan Davis. But I like Take a Look in the Mirror. I think it's a great album. I think it's a pretty heavy album. I really like the track that they did with Nas on there. I thought that was a very original metal rap track, and I think it holds up. I think it's a great album, and I think it's better than a lot of the other albums that they released after it. I think it's definitely a much stronger album than their Untitled effort. That's for damn sure, without a doubt. So where does Untouchables, where does it fall? Like, you already know it's my second favorite, but what makes it so special? Why would Jonathan Davis say this is his favorite album? Well, I could definitely see why. Because I'll tell you, if I came along and probably, I didn't have that nostalgia factor to fall back on with Issues, maybe this might be my favorite album. I don't know why, because it's definitely an album that has so much unique songwriting on it, so many unique riffs. Also, it marks the point where they really just said, like, okay, we're going to start using effect pedals and just go all out. an amazing intro track and Here to Stay. Such a heavy song. I think I like this song better than Falling Away From Me, to be quite honest. I do miss them having intro tracks. Like, Korn doesn't really do that a whole lot. They did it on Issues with Dead, which I thought was a great way. Korn has always had a sense of atmosphere to their music, and it's probably why I love them so much. And a song like Dead, you know, really just brought things into perspective. Like, you're gonna hear something dreary, something moody, you know, and they really kind of set the table with that intro track. And that's something we kind of see more from Slipknot. You know, they're kind of the guys with more with the intro track. Or not so much. You know, they did it kind of, you could sort of argue that Twist is sort of an intro track for Life is Peachy, but it's kind of a song in its own right. You know, I kind of think of more an intro track to be more atmospheric, like I said, more setting the table, not really being a full-fledged song. So I kind of would have liked to see that here. You know, we would see it again on Untitled, but you'll know my opinion on that album if you watch my retrospective on, you know, for the Untitled album that they would release in 2007. So the second track, Make Believe, you know, right away you see that they got the chorus and the flanger ready to go on the guitars, and they're ready to use those effects. Lots of heavy tracks on here, you know, such as Blame, Bottle Up Inside. Just, a song like Thoughtless, such good songwriting, you know, a song that just really has such a great melody. Kind of, you know, holding back a little bit on the heaviness. Hollow Life is a really more melodic, lighter song. Some really good songs that are super underrated are Beat It Upright, a bit obscene, you know, in the content of the lyrical content of the song. But the effects are just drivingly heavy and strong, you know, and Head and Monkey are just going in on it. Wake Up Hate has got to be one of the most unique electronically fused tracks, and it just kind of feels a bit machine-like and angry, and it feels very emotional and very raw. Those two tracks on this album, no one really talks about these bad boys, and they're definitely good ones. Alone I Break, a great single, just like Here to Stay, off the album. They wrap up things really nicely on here with I'm Hiding and No One's There. And then you get a nice little bonus track at the end. And it's a Here to Stay, like a little electronic remix of the song. And I thought that was really cool that they just ended things like that. And it's just a really, really fun album to listen to. A lot of uniqueness on here. And that's why, like, everything, just each song kind of has its own little individual identity. There's a lot of fun to be had on this album. You know, it really is. Like, I think almost every track on here has something to like about it, something unique about it, something to really, you know, bring this album to the forefront and make it my second favorite album of all time and Jonathan Davis's favorite album of all time. You know, I think that this is a really special albums, very special for metal, something very special just, you know, for the entire genre of metal, encompassing of just what you can do if you're, you know, if you want to have creative freedom and just step beyond the boundaries. And this is why Jonathan Davis has, like, gone on record saying, like, well, I don't know, you know, are we a metal band or are we not? Because they don't think inside that box. They don't feel like they need to be a particular style. Yes, Korn does have a certain style, but as you can see, which different tracks on here, like I said, like Wake Up Hate and Beat It Upright, these songs don't sound anything like any other Korn songs. You know, you can listen, and each album has something different about it. There's a reason why, you know, Korn has lasted as long as they have. They have changed their music. Different people probably became different fans with certain albums. I'm sure that the path to Totality might have even brought about a lot of fans in its own right. Hell, I posted my Untitled retrospective, and I actually expected a lot of fans to agree with me, but there was a lot of people saying, no, Brad, you're wrong. That album was awesome. And I like seeing that. You know, to help, you know, fuck me. If, you know, if you like the album and you think it's great, more power to you. I actually really love hearing that. You know, hearing that people enjoy an album, because I'm like that in a lot of ways too. You know, people say an album is bad, it's not good. You know, like I use the example of Machine Gun Kelly. People said, oh, that album sucks, you have no taste, whatever. You know, I like it, you don't, that's just fine. I'm not really going to care what you're going to say. I'll share my opinion on it. I'll tell you right to your face. It's a good album. I think he's a good artist. He may be controversial. He may do some stupid, retarded shit. But it does not matter, because at the end of the day, it's good music. It sounds good, and I like it. And, you know, if you enjoy the Untitled album, I know a lot of people hated the dubstep album, but I say that it was good. You know, and I really enjoyed it, and we'll probably talk about that one eventually too here on this channel. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you think about Untouchables? Do you like this album? Where does it rank as far as Korn albums? Would you at least put it in your top 5, top 3, top 10? Is it not even in the top 10? Do you absolutely hate it? Do you think the Untitled album is better than it? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time.